Howdy, partner.
Though now Demacia is on 100. No, Demacia is 100 Thieves, so obviously I think he's the best player ever. So
Oh yeah, he is.
that's how that works.
Perks is doomed, dude.
Obviously.
I'm really curious how Perks is gonna do. I'm really curious how that team is gonna do with Perks in it as well.
So one of the big things that I feel, obviously, like people talk about how bad NA solo queue is, right? But I don't think people really contextualize like the impact of that well when they talk about it. I think it actively makes players worse when they're used to different types of solo queue, just because you don't know how to practice in that environment, or how to use practice differently when you're normally used to a certain level of gameplay. So that's like one thing that I'll say about it. So because of that, like because the quality, a lot of players will actively just not play, right? So I'm curious how he'll respond to it. I wouldn't say Perks is like the same kind of grinder as some players, but like players who are used to relying a lot on grinding solo queue to keep their level usually struggle a lot in NA in terms as imports.
Yeah.
But I think Perks and G2 like have a very high level understanding of the game that probably is going to be. I think like everyone who comes to NA from EU in some capacity as a coach transfer in particular, or as a player transfer, will say that, you know what, I'm going to teach NA how to set up the map properly in side lane. I've had that experience. Obviously, I've talked to Freeze, who's had that experience, right? And it's just,
yeah,
you can make effort, but there's definitely a lot of just, it takes a lot of consistent discipline to work on that.
To be able to make it happen, yeah.
It's an interesting topic for sure. I think in Academy we played like a lot of 1-3-1 a year last year compared to a lot of Academy teams, so that was like something I was proud of. But
nice.
This year it's obviously much more difficult, so it's easy to just kind of go, yeah, we're gonna 5v5 a dragon, let's go guys, and fall into the trap. So.
Yeah. Everyone goes mid to push for Prio, everyone goes to dragon, everyone goes mid, everyone goes dragon, everyone goes mid.
Yeah.
Sure.
The
The NA RAM, as it were.
Level 1s was something that we worked on a lot in 100 Thieves Academy, for example. So I think that was something that was good.
Oh my god.
I mean, the meta was so weird because I felt like side laning champions were really strong, but it was just so much bot prio into dragon fights everywhere. Yeah.
Dude, the guy's hoodie is intense. Have you seen it?
Yeah, for sure.
That's like, I have no problem with people being religious or anything like that, but that is an intense hoodie, regardless of your religious stance. That's
yeah.
It's like the Jesus version of the anime hoodie. You know, the one that everyone wears at Comic-Con or whatever.
I'm wondering if he just like likes the hoodie. I don't know. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
You have to ask him
well,
about
it's like
it.
people wear crosses, right? When they're not religious.
Oh my gosh, it's Nidalee first pick, guys. They just picked Nidalee.
They did it.
Crazy. Is EDG gonna pick Lucian? Because please, just, I mean, they might say, okay, you're not gonna pick Lucian because Nidalee's gone, right? But I'm still down for Lucian.
I'm pretty sure I've seen Forge play Lucian as well, so I'm pretty sure Vici will go for it if it's not
if EDG doesn't, yeah.
And you can't really. Oh, Galio's banned anyway.
There's still Eve up too. So, but they picked Graves, so whatever happens.
Unlucky.
Really, they're just gonna get them Lucian Nidalee like that?
It's not about happening? So Alex, it's not about setting up for the spears. It's about having an insanely good mid matchup and a lot of priority, so Nidalee can invade and you can set Nidalee up to get in the enemy.
Yeah, jungle. And just having the damage combos so enemy mid can't rush like one type of defensive item, so either mostly mercs, because I don't think almost no mids will rush like Tabby's, right? So double AD is more forgivable.
Mm. It looks like it's Sett mid though. Well, it could be Sett support still, but Sett mid with Nidalee is fine as well.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
kind of the same situation, right? Where you can just
I
brute
guess
force
we're just,
priority and
and I think VG was like the first team to do this at Nidalee, at least in the major regions. But they obviously didn't have Forge at the time. Or Ix.
yeah.
Ix is
Not a fan of Ix?
not a big fan, no. I'm gonna be completely honest.
More of a chieftain kind of person.
He was good. I think I don't. It's unfortunate because I do think there are just a lot of good junglers in LPL, right? But I don't think Ix is there.
Hmm.
We'll see. Maybe he redeems himself today. I feel like Sett Nidalee is really straightforward. Probably helpful for both of them. As long as you have hands, right?
Yeah, that's one of the big things that separates a lot of players is hands. For example, Knight, his hands are made of gold, as far as I've told, or at least his left hand is. But, you know, that actually isn't very good because gold is not very easy to
not
move.
Really, yeah. It is more malleable than, iron, but
it is still a metal, you know. It's not as malleable as like skin and bone joints with muscles.
It's interesting though because you would say diamond is like the least malleable, but it's considered one of the better ratings,
Really?
in League of Legends. So like gold is more malleable, so you think like you have more fluidity with your hands, but
I get it.
Anyway, sorry.
I got into actual I was like, no way, diamond is not malleable.
Yeah, no, it's not malleable at all. That's the point, right?
Where's the carbon rank? That's what I want to know. Because carbon's hard.
Yeah, same.
Carbon's real hard.
Same.
All right, BBD. Here we go. Going for the Kaisa.
I can't believe he got third most votes for All-Star. It's crazy.
I think people thought it was BDD.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they did, but that's why it's crazy.
It's so funny.
It's pretty nuts.
What I wonder is if people realize, or if he realizes that was what happened, or if it's like he now thinks he's kind of famous.
Yeah, I have no idea. So this is weird. You're going with Nidalee and a bunch of. Okay, so Nidalee, Ezreal to sort of kite and siege, and then they've got a bunch of dive. But I guess Nidalee and Ezreal are really, really safe individually, so it's fine. Then we have just an all-in comp on the right side, your typical LPL, brawl it out, fight them face to face. Who cares about dragon setups as long as we have something we can flank? All good.
It's kind of like, oh, hang on. That's not all
I would
brawl.
Yeah, it's I mean, Quirky is same categories as real Nidalee, right? Where it's like if your front line is just jumping ahead of you, you can sort of self-peel and
yeah.
Quirky into Sett mid is not the worst, honestly. It's pretty decent because you can like kite him, you have a lot of move speed.
Surely you just
have
go
pretty
like
good
Orianna.
Range.
Sorry, Orianna not fine here.
I mean, Quirky's really, or he's fine. Quirky's fine here as well. I just think Quirky has like more mobility in space.
Fair enough.
For fights. So especially if you're dealing with long range champs like Nidalee Ezreal, you really don't have an answer to those champs as Ori. Like I hate playing Ori into poke, honestly.
Oh my god, is the stream kind of dying for you?
And then she's also really immobile versus like the Sett Nidalee setup, right? So it's easy to gank her. My stream is not dying. It seems fine.
Yeah, I would just refresh the page and it seems okay now. I don't know what happened. Isn't there a Twitch stream too? There is not.
That was a camera. That was a camera angle.
Dude,
right
they
there.
have been going crazy. It's been like a roller. I have actually had a bit of motion sickness from some of the camera moves they've been pulling off. It's like LEC in 2019 as well. They were like doing the spin moves with the camera and stuff. It's like, whoa, calm.
That's really not necessary, guys. We don't have to do that.
They were just trying to show off a bit, but it was a little bit like, hang on. I actually like my lunch in my stomach. If we can calm ourselves.
We're already at the semifinals. Who's excited?
This is the second semifinal.
I know, but that's just crazy, no?
It's pretty cray-cray.
I don't know. I mean, this tournament's been going on for weeks or something. Like, wow, we're already at the semifinals. Yes, Kelsey.
We had like a 4-day break, and then I managed to miss the start of these 2 days back to back. Well, to be fair, day one was because I had meetings and stuff, but today was just tardiness.
Alarm, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a quality excuse. I'm trolling my alarm, so this is what's happening.
Yeah, I mean,
I like these players are going to the video game. Nice. Okay. More camera angles applied to Summer's. I don't know. I think that sleep schedule is catching up on me very suddenly.
You had a bit of a malfunction during that sentence.
Happens.
All right. Let's talk compositions. They do have Nidalee Renekton, which is insane. They have Nidalee Sett, which is pretty great.
So yeah, they're gonna have to snowball. I feel like if I'm Kaisa, I don't want to all into this, like the Leona. Sett Renekton. It feels very uncomfortable to do that. I think also the fact that most of EDG's comp is low range, and you have good kiting potential from Nidalee Ezreal plus an insane frontline, it's gonna make it kind of hard for them to fight, which is why the Corki pick makes more sense. I think Orianna is also not bad into all in, but if you're playing mid versus Nidalee Sett, you want to have some kind of escape tool, generally speaking. Bot lane, Ezreal Leona versus Kaisa Alistar. Looks like Kaisa Alistar are going to not leash, so they'll get prio by default, but normally like Ezreal Leona can play off the wave a little bit more versus these champs because Alistar is really weak early. Let's see.
Yeah. I thought Jiejie was going to try and make a move towards the top side there. He's going to be able to take the top half of these camps, though. Pretty nice for him. He has a ward on his own blue buff.
He has multiple lanes of prio from this, so he's doing well.
Yeah.
He can pretty consistently 3-quadrant here as long as he takes blue.
Well, he's going to lose his bottom to Ix, right? Because
I mean he can, but if he just goes blue immediately into like contesting Ix, he can deal with it. But it looks like his bot lane trolled anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Something about Alistar's today, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's like you think you understand how the champion functions. I think it was more an issue of them getting level 2.
Yeah.
And for some reason they
you should have.
Yeah, I mean you should
professional
be aware,
level
right?
play. How are you not respecting level 2?
Yeah, but they get level 2 like right when they all in him, right? Like Leona is basically in E when he gets level 2 already. So it was like really good immediate reaction, but
I'm not saying it wasn't a good all in, but like you can count minions. It's not that hard to know that they're about to hit level 2.
Yeah, it's not hard, but at the same time, like very few players, even at the LPL level, are consistently like as the minion's dying, engaging on you, right? And that was like a pretty long range E too. Like Alistar could have just easily dodged that. So he was probably relying on his ability to dodge and didn't react well.
So he was relying on his ability, but did not have said ability.
Hey, are you talking shit about Sloth, man?
No, I'm just translating what you said to be shit talk about Sloth. I was shit talking Sloth to start with, saying, "What the fuck? You died to a level 2 all in. I survived those, and I'm gold." And then you were like, but here's an extra factor,
gold,
which is sounds like a positive thing, but
I find it very sus that in gold they're like they know exactly when they'll hit level 2 and engage on the timing.
Well,
like,
that's the problem.
That very unlikely.
Is a lot of people don't, and it drives me insane when we're like have a massive minion advantage. We're about to hit level 2, and my support is like in the brush at our side of the lane, just chilling on Leona or whatever. You're like, what are you doing? Why are you there?
So in Sloth's defense, I would say in gold you have way more time to react. Not that that is really relevant to what he's doing at this level at all, but you know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right. If he was against gold players, he probably would have been okay. I agree.
Yeah. I think like his game plan of I'm gonna dodge the E is fine, but because like he can easily dodge the E and then like pulverize red. But because Leona has tried to ult, and if he doesn't, I'm able to talk. It's very good.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I will say the jungle matchup after bot lane ran it has been a little bit rougher for Jiejie than he would have liked.
For sure. Like at this point, that he just hard loses to Nidalee. So if after the next reset, especially since here he's using his tempo for Drake instead of doing his camps, well, Nidalee is farming his top side. Like this is really bad in my opinion. This is just a really terrible decision. If you have top camps up or they're about to respawn, you don't do Drake. It's just not worth it. Like for first Drake, because then you're really gapped. Nidalee's going to be ahead of you, not just in tempo, but in farm. I think she can feasibly even stay topside here. Looks like Quirky might be defending the camps. But she's going to be looking...
Oh, I guess
no, the Krugs was respawning, yeah. She already took the Raptors, but Krugs was respawning. And I thought she was like waiting for the respawn because she had the timer. But she's just going to do the top scuttle, do the Gromp, and then have Graves walk all the way top for
just Krugs. Oh, I guess he'll get his red in a second as well. But in the meantime, Ix can do his Gromp and then do his bot side.
Like if she looks for a play top, she can also look for the red. I think this should be the plan. Yeah, that's what looks like she's doing. No, she's recalling because Volibear's backing off.
Oh, you're a bit ahead of me.
They get to play top, then Nidalee can invade the red and deny it. It looks like instead she's optimizing to recall to get a tempo advantage and do her bot camps because they're respawning, which is good. She'll still be ahead then because she's farming more on her bot side than he is, right?
I'm just
but theoretically, they could have done a top play if like Volibear overextended and then invaded and denied the red, still recalled and gotten the bot side camps. And then she'd be even more ahead. But Volibear didn't misplay that, so.
But even with this, it's still completely fine because Jiejie now has to reset after the red. You can see Ix is already clearing his Krugs. He'll do red. He'll do Raptors. He can do his top side then.
Yeah.
He's got camps for days.
Graves has to recall for Raptors already, right? So this is a situation where if they also have the enemy blue spawn timer, they consider making a play on that just because Graves has to do his Raptors here. Yeah. Here it is.
Yeah, they're gonna do it. Read them like a book, Kelsey. And let's be honest, there's nothing they can do about it. There's priority in bot and mid lane, so ultimately, Jiejie just gets wrecked. Is that how do you say? It's Jiejie? Is it?
Jiejie, yeah. Okay. And then Renekton is a recall ahead of Volibear. Is able to or just back to lane before Volibear. I wouldn't say he's a recall ahead. And is gonna be here to try to defend the blue. Doesn't work, but a little bit late, but I can see the planning there, and they had it in mind. And also, since Graves now used his tempo for that, they can set up a play for Rift here. Quirky has package though, so it's a little bit suicidal. I think it's probably better to just give, but maybe if Quirky ends, it's fine. Yeah,
that's
no.
Very possible.
Yeah, no, it wasn't fine.
Yeah, I think you're still ahead of the stream. Spoilers.
Okay.
But I'm guessing it was not fine for Vici.
It's definitely not fine.
Forge tried. Actually, BBD barely survived. Oh my god, he's actually survived. Oh my god. That was kind of unlucky for Vici, honestly.
Uh,
Like, they still lose the fight, but if one
yeah,
more tick of damage
sure.
hits BBD, at least it's an even trade.
Yep. I mean, they should lose the fight though, theoretically, right? So, like, if you're approaching this from an angle of, okay, we know Corki picked up package, so we want to try to force Corki to blow package, and then we can take a fight. So you kind of are looking for a play on him, but they committed super hard for it, right? And Corki just sort of valked in, and then Kaisa immediately killed someone off of that.
Yeah.
So, but apparently they're still getting the rift because why not?
It's bouncing it. Like we said before,
Yeah.
this
I
is
mean,
a
now
tournament for the
Corki has no package, and they didn't take the rift right off of the fight because of the wave states in mid. So that gives an opportunity for VG to take it. They basically have to take it off of using package because they're not strong enough to fight it otherwise. Like VG are much stronger early, which is why it's weird that they took this specific fight.
That was a really nice cleanse actually from BBD. It was like perfect timing on the Renekton W. BBD's huge though, absolutely massive.
Yep. He's chilling on Q damage right now.
So this Drake is going to get ignored, right? Both junglers are on the top side of the map. It looks like Vici might set up a dive here.
Yeah, I mean, Volibear is already at the point of uselessness in this matchup, so they can continue to punish that. I think it's fine for them to trade sides here. They can give out the first 2 Drakes for sure, just to accelerate their Renekton. It's not super high value since Renekton's already ahead, but I think, yeah, this transition to punish mid laner is much better.
Yeah.
But they're just getting play gold, which I don't like the most. I'd rather they look to set up a dive mid and then drop the rift, but they're just doing it now. They're transitioning and taking over Drake. So yeah, I like this play less, but it's not the worst. They're using rift for tempo, getting a bit of play gold. Renekton is going to outscale Volibear anyway. You're talking about Renekton outscaling? That happened.
It does in the LPL. It does in the LPL.
Yeah.
Hey, Kenan ADC, how you doing, man? All right, well, this has been a fucking slow game, honestly. By Nest standards, these teams are not even playing.
I mean, you've got some brawl comps, right? And we're not brawling. It's a little disappointing, I'm gonna be honest. But I think for sure as EDG, you want Corki to at least have Triforce.
Yeah.
And then for Vici Gaming, you should be looking to start more things, but EDG should intelligently kind of avoid situations where they can't fight. So I feel like VG's sense of like when they can take fights is pretty good. And they're staying really competitive in the game. So right now, just based on feeling like they're playing more intelligently, I think they can win.
Yeah, I will say as well.
Though I think comp slightly favors VG. It's just that EDG aren't giving them windows.
Like, when you look at the way that these two teams played through 2020 as well, it's not that surprising that this is a fairly slow matchup. Like, both of them played a very slow pace of League of Legends. Even if it's not the same players, like, you can kind of see the identity that the organization and the coaching staff brings in the
players,
that
right? If
playing.
the players are more naturally disposed to this, because iBoy played like a lot of scaling ADs, even on EDG before.
When he tried to bring out Cogmore this year.
And I've always considered EDG like a smart mid-game team, right? Rather than being super good early.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They typically won't play early game comps. They won't draft for early game. They won't generally play for early game if they can help it.
I remember there was like this really whack idea that Twitch countered Lucian in like forget which year it was. I think it was the year that MSI was in China, right? It was 2016. Is that correct?
couldn't tell you.
But there's this idea that was floating around the LPL teams that Twitch countered Lucian. And that was because EDG had kind of baited the community into thinking this, because they would, even though Twitch is definitely a bad matchup for Lucian early, they would set up so that like Lucian would play aggressive and Clearlove would go bot to start a 3v3, and they always felt like no matter what the 3v3 was, they would outplay it. And that's kind of how it evolved. It's such a weird.
That's
I remember
hilarious.
thinking that was like really whack, but it was funny because even RNG would play like Twitch into Lucian on the MSI stage, right? And I remember talking to Mata about it, and he's like, "I think it's bad, but I let my AD do what he thinks is good." Basically, is what he said.
That's fair enough. Like,
yeah,
you can't really argue with that.
yeah.
Oh man, Mata's a god, dude. It's, I still firmly believe that Mata at his peak was maybe in the conversation of best individual, or
Fair.
at least most influential individual in a game. In the way that because he was very clearly in control of that team. Samsung White was so insane. Like, I don't know, I've not like trolled through VODs or anything, but my opinion has always been that Samsung White roster was the best world champion roster. At their peak, they were the best that there's ever been, with how far ahead of the competition they were.
Definitely an argument for that, or for I don't know. I definitely usually hold the opinion that it was 2013 SKT.
Yeah.
But I think there's an argument for it, sure. I just think that the competition for Samsung Blue and Samsung White, between the two teams, and how smart Samsung Blue were in general in terms of like applying the concepts of Samsung White,
yeah,
makes that a less concrete argument. But if you think about Samsung Blue and Samsung White as like a sister team unit, then sure, I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, I can understand that argument. I guess part of my argument is the fact that only Samsung Blue really challenged them. Other than that, they pretty much just destroyed everyone. Let's be honest.
I think so the really interesting team from that era for me is OMG. And the reason I say that is because I thought that they had a lot of the same principles, but they were basically torn apart by what I consider like really petty high school shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. It's BLG
if you
this
talk about,
year.
I
Well, I
mean,
guess that's not as petty, but
anyway. It was to the point where I don't know how much you know about 2014 OMG, but it was to the point where like Cloud was very obviously the best support for that roster. But he was kind of an asshole. And Loveling was also kind of an asshole. So they it's a weird thing to say, but so it was basically very much like they would sub him out periodically to nullify the tensions and put in Dada 7 because he was a chill guy, but Dada 7, I maintain, is still like one of the worst players to ever play in a Worlds game.
Oh my god.
He was so bad. Like, you should go back and watch some of those.
Where does Jiejie sit on that scale?
Oh no,
Comparatively.
no! I don't think you understand. If you're bringing up Yuyanja as a comparison, you clearly do not understand the level of Dada 7 relative to the competition in 2014.
Okay, I'm kind of interested to watch some Dada 7 now.
Like I can't believe still that they got out of groups with Dada 7. That's so insane. It was like they were definitely 4v5, potentially 4v6 in every game they played.
4v6.
And then they subbed in Cloud for quarterfinals, right? And 3-0'd Najin. And then they just boomed in semifinals. And you could tell. I've heard some stories about that semifinals, man, but you could tell from the outside that stuff was going down.
Yeah. What stories have you heard about Sett semifinal?
There's a specific play in one of the games. That's all I'll say.
Okay. I don't
Yeah.
I don't know the
Mhm.
series well. I don't remember
Yeah.
that distinctly,
But yeah, it was OMG 2014 is an interesting team for me. It's like one of the biggest what if teams.
yeah.
Because I think that when I watched them play, they were so smart, like during the games where they were able to not kill each other,
Yeah.
internally. So I always kind of
There's been a
wondered.
few teams over the years like that where it's like, if you guys could just get on, if you could just be friends, like
Yeah,
everything would be
exactly.
great. But
it was just like a lot of petty stuff, and the difference between Dada 7 and Cloud was really too extreme for me. Like it was too much. Yeah, I don't
is
know.
Dada 7 better or worse than Eric? I mean, Eric has never played at Worlds. Like, I don't think Kelsey's
Yeah.
saying Dada 7 is just a terrible player overall, but like maybe the worst at Worlds. Eric is certainly also not Worlds quality right now. But this time, he can grow as a player. Maybe Eric will be Worlds quality one day, you know?
Yeah. But I think a lot of people talk about certain players that have won worlds that have been bad. Like I think Looper is often in the conversation.
Weren't his TPs meant to be insane or something?
I mean,
I remember people talking about how good he was at TPing. I don't know. I didn't really have a good enough understanding of League of Legends at the time.
so there was
I haven't been
Samsung
back and
White early game is really interesting to talk about because I would say like everyone thinks about Imp Mata bot lane, like they're always playing the bot. But
yeah,
if you watched consistently, they were one of the teams that really understood the map pressure that occurred through top lane prio.
yeah,
So typically speaking, you could see Dandy go to top side either for an invade or to pressure top really early on. And the goal of that was kind of to blow enemy tops TP so that they always had TP advantage for bot plays. And then
yeah.
after that, bot would start playing really aggro,
It's
just like
almost
aggro all the time. And that's why to me, like it was just the team's overall game understanding that made their TPs impactful. Is just because they're always like blowing enemy tops TP so that he can't match, and bot can play aggro. And this is like a really basic concept now, but this was something that people weren't really understanding or doing
yeah.
consistently at the time.
That's basically
So
Top Esports' strategy this year during summer.
mhm.
That was pretty much what they did. Well, in a lot of
so
games.
so yeah, that's why to me when you talk about like Looper's TPs being super insane, it was really all set up by the team, right?
Yeah.
So like the idea that that's a decision that he made specifically when it was a consistent team play that they looked for is kind of weird to me to talk about. And I think a lot of TP plays, even in the present day, it's like you can't really credit the top laner alone for most TP plays that are set up well.
Yeah.
Like good TP plays are off of proactive plays made by the whole team. Good reactive TPs is something you can discuss, but good proactive TP plays are set up generally by the entire team. It's like an early game kind of. The coach says, "Okay, guys, we played this a lot in scrims. You know what to do in this type of comp. We're looking for TP play off of like X, Y, and Z, um, stuff like that." So I think for me, just talking about the Looper as like he's really good because his TPs were good has always been a disingenuous argument.
Fair enough.
And then he was imported into a certain region
That shall not be named.
that shall not be named, and I think we saw a lot of his limitations there. I think he did okay on RNG because they set up really similar plays. Like, obviously Uzi and Mata playing super aggro on bot off of TP control. Not shocking, but yeah. Anyway, this is a fun game. We haven't really been talking about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, after that Baron, there's
Yeah.
not much to talk about anymore. This is a sad game. To be fair, BBD tried his heart out in that fight. He
I
really
do
did.
think EDG did kind of lose in draft, but the way they were playing it, I gave them a lot more chance than they had. But you know, happens.
It does happen.
I just don't think Kaisa can be as effective. And then I think Corki can technically still 1v9 this game because she's against a lot of melee champs. I think he's only one-shottable if he gets CC locked. He now has the Triforce Muramana.
Yeah, he's getting pretty big. If he gets rapid fire cannon, he'll be big. But
if he's just gonna get hit by Ezreal keys, then pretty doomed.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking for consolation prizes here. Let's be honest.
I'm just saying, it's not like there's no way back into the game for EDG. It's just hard.
It's an
the Corki pick, even in draft, was kind of a Hail Mary thing for sure. Yeah, he's just getting poked.
Oh, God.
Like, honestly, if I'm 0909 right now, I'm just flaming Sloth in comms because he's not walking up and taking poke for me. I'm the win condition of the game, but whatever.
Well, you shouldn't ever be flaming
and
your
then
team.
if I'm Sloth,
you're what
I'm
leads
flaming...
to 2014 OMG.
and if I am Sloth, I'm flaming 0909 because he can't dodge, so it's whatever. We're talking about the situation where players are blaming their teammates for
iBoy.
loss, you know? Oh!
I like watching iBoy. I really like watching iBoy. I have a love-hate relationship with iBoy this year. Because, like, some of his plays are amazing, and some of his plays are so god-awful. Like, sometimes he just walks up mid lane as Cogmore randomly when he's the only damage threat on the team and ints it, you know? And then nobody ever plays Cogmore again.
So now that ESPN is dead, I can say that I had a really good article that I wrote based on an interview with iBoy when EDG didn't make it out of groups in 2017. Yeah. It was like one of the only interviews that EDG allowed after the series. And I did the interview and I wrote up like a 2K word article and I said, it's okay that this is over the word limit, right? And then ESPN said yes. And then they just completely cut the article in half and slaughtered it. And I was like, well,
oh, no.
And published it like that. So I was like, well, that happened. But yeah, now ESPN is dead. I can slightly flame them for doing stuff like that. ESPN had some of the biggest kind of restrictions of any publication I've worked for. Most of the time I did not agree with them, but that's a separate issue.
But like, what's the goal of a word limit like that?
The goal of a word limit is that the assumption is that most people who read articles don't have like insane attention spans, so they'll be turned off by really long articles in general. Like if you have an in-depth or interesting piece, then you can justify a longer word limit. But most of the time they want to produce content that people are like incentivized to read because they feel like they can do it like while they're like, I mean, this is the stereotype, but while you're in the bathroom on your phone, you know. That's the kind of content that does well because again, phones don't really have ad block as consistently also.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
They had a lot of other format restrictions that I didn't think always worked super well in the esports space, but they took over from the sports scene, and that's part of why I think their content wasn't like always insanely successful, compared to what it could have been.
Yeah, there's I mean, stuff from traditional sports not being the best thing in esports is a pretty consistent theme at this point.
Yeah, it's a pretty old conversation, right? So
many production people have had nightmares trying to deal with that kind of issue.
Yeah,
myself included.
Running esports and running an esports vertical as like a general sports vertical is never going to work either. People don't really follow multiple esports that much.
I think that's like the problem. Is there's like there's two really bad parallels that are drawn that really annoy me. One is that like League of Legends and Counter-Strike can be equated to American football and baseball. Whereas it doesn't really work because with baseball and American football, like if you're American, you know the basics, right? You know how both of those games work by default. No matter who you are, you at least know that the hand egg has to go over the line and the ball has to go out of the stadium or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like the very basics of that. You understand what a good game is. You understand what a good hit is. If you're a Counter-Strike player, you don't necessarily know anything about League of Legends. You don't understand how the game works fundamentally in any way. So already that is a flawed parallel. and then when you're drawing that line between like Dota and League, like you could if you were a sports person, you could see how that would seem to make a good argument, right? But it doesn't at all because there is so many differences.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't work in any way. But then, what was the other parallel I was going to say? There's an even more annoying parallel that's always drawn. Oh yeah, one of the stupid metrics, and this is from the esports side. There's this really stupid, annoying metric that people use where it's like, well, baseball this year got this many views, and esports this year got this many views. We're more successful than sports now. It's like, what? What, our entire industry beat one sport in viewership, and we're gonna pretend like we've dominated the world? What are we talking about? It's such a stupid thing.
I think the one thing that bothers me is that, like, one of the biggest problems with running esports, a general esports vertical, is a sports vertical. By the way, I really like the way VG set up the map in this game, right? They held control in topside and were just poking people as they face checked with good resets and earlier setups. So not something I expected to see from any SD based on the earlier games we've watched, but whatever. I think so. In terms of like the esports general vertical issue, most people get their news from Twitter, right? Esports news you get from Twitter, like posts like that, just like the orgs tweeting or the players tweeting. So you're not really looking for a vertical that gives you like news updates in esports. You're looking for kind of unique content.
Yeah.
So running an esports vertical, you don't really want to index too heavily in news. And I think that that's a big problem that a lot of publications I've worked for or have been around have made in assumptions.
Yeah.
So it's a really like our industries, the esports industry in general is just like so social media driven. So you're looking for stuff that you can't necessarily find on Twitter or on Reddit.
Yeah, but the problem is as well. Certainly, if you're let's say I'm ESPN, right? I find the right people to do that, trying to regularly produce like inspired and interesting content that is different to what content is out there is insanely difficult. League of Legends is so saturated.
If you hire Fionn, Jacob Wolf, and Emily Rand, that it's not difficult. But I feel like none of those people were used optimally. I also think.
And just to say, that wasn't against what they did at ESPN. I'm just saying, like, it's a difficult task, like with the amount of you're competing with every YouTuber and every other article writer.
I mean, I don't think unique content is difficult. I think finding an audience is sometimes difficult, but I don't think unique content is that difficult. The other thing is that esports, the reason why it's lumped together as like one idea is because the viewer base of any individual game isn't enough to justify its own vertical right now. You know, the player base or the readership in general, and that's why a lot of people try to lump esports together to get like a vertical that can sometimes somewhat be justified, right?
Yeah.
Right now it's just not making money. Almost every person who's interested in esports runs ad block.
Yeah.
Video content is easier to consume than written, so it's just not.
Yeah. I see.
Right
This
now,
is
it's just
this is
hard
part of the
work.
thought why I asked in the first place about the word limit, because I feel like I know personally, if I'm going to read an article, the reason I will read an article is because it's going to be really in depth, right? It's going to be something that's like
a
proper breakdown.
Whereas, and I think that's a sentiment that I think the publications that come from sports don't really understand as well. Is that if you're reading an article, you're looking for something that's more unique and in depth. Otherwise, you're just gonna watch a video with like quick takes on a situation, right?
Yeah.
So you want something that either feels really personal, which like people like Emily do really well, or you're looking for something that gives you like a lot of in-depth context on a situation or a game, right? That you can't necessarily find by watching a video. Though more and more, I think there's just like not a big audience for written content in esports anyway. So anyway, that was a fun game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, and hopefully next game we can talk a little bit more about the game.
Yeah,
but
hopefully there'll be things happening. I mean, there was stuff to talk about there, let's be honest, but it was kind of
it was over early. I think, like I said, main key points were just where BG made a mistake was like the Rift Herald fight, but then after that, EDG kind of got run over. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Be back soon.
No worries. None of this desk is CG. This is a real desk. This is a real studio this time. A real arena. They have a crowd and everything. I don't think that the crowd is made of CG. But I could be wrong. I have been wrong once before. God damn, I'm really tired, guys. I needed more sleep. More sleep is almost always the answer. No more Alistair. We've seen some good Alistairs today. We've seen some really bad Alistairs today as well. This was an example. But Sloth has played Alistair really well. In previous games. Not in this game, but in previous games he has played it well. Oh dear. Feels bad, man, for EDG. Oh, you mean I was doing the analyst desk? My bad. I thought you were just flaming Sloth. Can we get Munch on top of the Ryzen? Would you say I would be rising to the top of the chip? Is that where you were going with that? Huh? Oh, yeah. Terrible. Terrible, terrible. Do you want to see my new emote? I got a new emote that I'm going to put on after the stream today. I'll tweet it later, but I'll give you guys a preview now. I got, because I wanted like a little sort of love heart emote so people could, like, if someone subs or whatever, people could put hearts or whatever. Which, by the way, Prime check. I haven't done any Prime checks today. If you've got Prime, can I have it, please? That would be really good. It's free, guys. It's free.
What did you do, Munch? I walk away and 200 viewers, and then I come back to 155. Did you just scare 50 people away?
Is that
Crazy.
55? It's on 193 on mine.
Oh. It's slowly inching back up now that I've returned. You can thank me later.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, thank you. This is my new. I got a new Twitch emote. It's Sif, the dog off of Dark Souls, holding on her little sword, and it's got a little heart. It's so cute. I wanted like a little heart emote so people could put it when someone subs or whatever.
Oh, sure, yeah. So this is this your dog or?
No, it's Sif. It's Sif off of Dark Souls.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see. Are
Have
you primarily a Dark Souls streamer?
No, but I do play a lot of Dark Souls, and I do stream a lot of Dark Souls, so I figured there should be at least one Dark Souls emote in there.
Sure, of course.
Sif is the best dog. Full stop. Do you know Dark Souls at all?
I know of Dark Souls. I know that the main concept of Dark Souls. That's all. That's about it.
Okay. Well, the long and short of it is Sif is the best dog.
Got it. That's the most important thing about Dark Souls, I think.
Yeah, she's basically the only character dog in the whole of the show, the whole of the series, but she's basically her owner falls to the abyss, as it were.
Okay.
And she waits patiently by her owner's grave to protect the ability to abyss walk, because no one else should hopefully go down there and also fall to the abyss, right?
Sure.
But you've met her before, and so she's a boss in the game. And when you go to face her to try and get the ring that allows you to walk the abyss, she comes and knocks you over. She like pounces on you, sniffs you, recognizes you, and then like howls and then picks up her sword. It's so sad. She's like, I've got to fucking kill you, mate. Sorry, mate. I don't want to kill you, but it's the way it has to be. And then when you get her to 10% health, you know when a dog like stands on a splinter or something, they like hold one paw up and they like limp. She does that and she like tries to hit you, but it's like a really feeble attack. It's so sad. And then obviously you have to kill her to get the item. So you have to just put the dog out of his misery.
So you're saying this is just like a really traumatizing game for dog people.
It's so sad. It is so sad. She's the best dog ever. So that's why I've immortalized her in my emotes, is the long and short of it. Because Sif is the best girl.
Understood.
There you go. That's my story. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
No problem. Dark Souls TED Talks. I'm waiting for it.
To be honest, I probably butchered the story at least to some extent. Because as with Dark Souls, it's always a little more complicated than that. But
sure.
I ain't ever gonna play this freaking game. What the hell, dude? It's so good. The story is insane. The stories are all kind of sad though, to be fair, but it is just amazing. The story behind it is unbelievable.
Weird. A game called Dark Souls has somewhat sad stories. Crazy.
Yeah. Who would have thought it?
Definitely surprising, you know?
Even if you're not going to play Dark Souls, though, Elden Ring is coming eventually. It's the new one from FromSoft that they have teased like a year and a half ago, and then they haven't said anything else about it. But everyone's really hyped for it. I'm going to go to the bathroom before this next game starts.
Sure.
Right back.
Dog Soul streamer? Nah, of course. So EDG VG game 2. Do we feel like VG wins next game as well? Nope. I'm not sure because I haven't really been following the tournament as much as I usually do. I think so yeah, obviously I have a really deep opinion on this topic because I worked with him for 2 years. Most of the stuff that, because I was doing like off season, I was still working with a lot of these guys for most of the off season too, before their contracts expired. I think he's actually really insane in terms of understanding like wave manipulation, what he can do from survive side. But I think just being able to articulate what he needs when he has the advantage is good for him, just to the rest of his team. Definitely think he gets there though. He's actually just insanely talented.
I am back. I have brought a can of energy.
Can of energy. Your chat is surprisingly interested in Academy.
Oh.
I didn't expect that. Like most LPL fans, it's like an Academy shit. It's very typical.
I feel like the people in my chat are always pretty nice in general.
Mm-hmm.
And also just interested. Like, my Discord has actually been really alive with conversation just about all of the roster transfers, but it's not like it's not like just about the LPL or just about the LEC kind of thing. They're interested in the roster transfers in all regions, which is nice to see. It's nice for me because it means I get updated on all the roster transfers as they happen. Someone puts them in the Discord. It's super good.
Honestly, I think it's sort of rare. It's honestly sort of rare for there to be a situation where LPL fans to not be interested from the English-speaking areas to not be interested in other regions. It's pretty rare. Just because it's like LPL is still kind of a fringe major region to be interested in. So usually you got into it through watching NA or EU first, right?
Yeah, that's true. I definitely watched a lot of EU more than any other region. To be fair, this was the first year that I really, really hardcore watched LPL. I'd watched LPL in the past, but I wasn't a huge LPL fan.
Honestly, I would say this is the year that I've watched the LPL the least since the league existed.
It's because of the casters, isn't it? The
new
casters
it's
just
the casting. Yeah, the casters are so bad. I can't help it. Then no.
I can't even watch it muted because I know that my watch will support them as people, and I can't get behind it.
Yeah, no. I think you guys every time I tune in, you guys do a really good job. Pretty exciting. I think you have like there's always I've always felt like LPL casting can have a really unique identity, right? Because it's such a brawler region, so just making it like more fun.
Yeah.
It's always been a thing that I felt like should be the kind of the trend.
The style.
And I think Raz to an extent started it a bit, but I feel like when I watch it now, you guys have really kind of embraced that, and it makes me happy to see. So.
Yeah, well, I think basically partly it was just the fact that there was only 4 of us. There was a lot of games, so it was kind of like, to an extent, there's only so much prep you can do unless you want to literally have no days off, which was the case on a lot of weeks. But when the games weren't that important, when it's like 2 middle bottom of the table teams are going against each other, those are the kind of games where you just gotta embrace the meme. just allow it to happen to you, as opposed to hardcore prepping and trying to tell the perfect story of every player and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I think we did a good job. I definitely think there's a lot to improve on for next year, though. There's a long way to go still, but I'm happy with what we did. The fact that we're not hated, honestly, is a huge accolade in my mind. My singular goal was not to have a Reddit hate thread, and I didn't have a Reddit hate thread, so that was pretty good.
I mean, sometimes you gotta embrace the Reddit hate threads a little bit.
Yeah.
I think if you're not upsetting someone, you're probably not doing anything that interesting.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind that mentality. Because we've started to get some love for Babies of the Boys on Reddit, so I'm just waiting until some people start to flame us. Because inevitably, everything that people love, people also hate. Especially on Reddit. So I'm curious what people will hate about Babies of the Boys.
Sure.
Because it's been pretty chill so far. But maybe that's the problem with it, right? Maybe people will hate that it's too laid back or whatever. I could certainly understand that.
An interesting thing to hit. Can I say?
Well, some people have certainly when it comes to talk shows and things, especially if, like, let's say you're a Thorin viewer, right? And you've been a Thorin viewer for years, you're going to very much like that style of talk show because he's a very active host and a
sure.
Borderline aggressive host in the way that he directs the conversation and the way that he chooses topics, and will give a very strong opinion on the topic every time he brings up a topic as well, to kind of like spark a reaction out of his guests. Whereas we're kind of like on the opposite end of that scale, I would say, where it's very much like we're just having a chat. I mean, you can speak from experience, but we're quite happy to just meander through a conversation and let the guests sort of take it where they want to go to an extent.
I think it sort of depends on the guest for Thorin sometimes.
Yeah.
And the objective of the show. So.
I mean, Thorin's done a lot of different shows with a lot of different styles of guests, so I'm not trying to. I was using Thorin just as an example as opposed to like a general statement, but But yeah, no, it's I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. If it ever gets big enough to get hate threads and things, we'll have to wait and see. I hope so, though.
That's
Fingers
always
crossed.
the goal, to be hated.
Exactly. One day I'll be hated. I can't wait. I'm sure some people hate me. Shout out to the haters.
You're a very hateable person, so I'm sure, strike me as someone that goes out of his way to piss everyone off most of the time.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you've noticed because
yeah, it's something you work hard for.
Yeah, I was really pushing that this year, so it's good that it's finally getting the recognition it deserves.
Of course.
Oh god. The only reason to hate is not enough episodes. All right, sorry, mate. We're working on it. And next one hopefully should be in 2 days. So keep your eyes peeled. There should hopefully be an announcement tomorrow. Which will be exciting.
Is it the Reckless Carlos episode?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, or Carlos Sam Matthews. That would be the.
Yeah, that's the goal.
The big episode. Or
I feel like
Reckless Perks.
Yeah, Reckless Perks probably is bigger. Yeah, it's probably the biggest.
Carlos Sexpeke.
Yeah, that could get some views for sure.
Dude, I would want to have fucking Expeke and Cyanide on. Holy shit, that would be so good. I am an old school Fnatic fanboy, so.
Yeah, old school E fan.
Man, that team. God, that fucking play at Krugs. Expeke Zed play at Krugs. Or is it, he's Ari, right, against a Zed? Or is he Zed against Ari? I don't remember.
I honestly am so bad at remembering what you're talking about exactly.
Whichever way around it was, I'm pretty sure he was Zed and he was against an Ari, and he played it so damn well. And I remember going into the tournament not having faith that Fnatic could do it against. I was against Talon, was it? I remember not having faith in the European teams and specifically Expeke not being like good enough mechanically. I don't know why I had that. I just remember that was like the emotion I had. And then that play like turned it around in my head and I was like, holy shit, they're going to win the world championship. And then obviously they didn't win the world championship. But yeah, that play was like solidified it in my head that they were the fucking best team ever. It was so good.
I was actually a Fnatic fan in season 2. And that's how I became an LPL fan.
Which so was that was just before Reckless joined?
So basically partly like the period slightly before Reckless joined and then when Reckless joined. So
yeah. Did he join late season 2 or season 3?
Yeah, late season 2. I remember like people were really hyping him up going into IPL 5 and then WE was too insane, so
I remember being really sad for Pushu. Because I feel like Pushu was a pretty good AD carry.
Yeah, like season 3, right?
Yeah, and he wasn't it like Reckless had played IPL or whatever, but wasn't old enough for LCS.
Yeah.
And so Pushu replaced him for a bit. And it was like I just felt bad for Pushu because he didn't end up on a good team afterwards, and I felt like he deserved to be on it. Because I don't think he was good enough to be there instead of Reckless, right? But
yeah, sure. I think at the time I felt Pushu was like pretty decent, but I didn't think he was insane, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I just felt bad for the guy.
I think I didn't have as much of an opinion. Probably now, in the context of me, I would feel a little bit worse because I've evolved as an emotional human being. That's all I have to say about that.
Fair enough. All right, enough about Pushu. Let's talk about the draft.
Let's talk about
First pick Graves, which is
again
pretty unsurprising at this point.
Kindred Jhin. Also decent answers to Graves. I also think Leona's not bad because she can get it in his face and he can't kill her too easily.
So, interestingly, after locking in the Jhin, which generally signifies we kind of want to stay away from you, Jiejie has then gone Aphelios.
Yeah, I was thinking
which is
about that
like,
as
I would
well.
like you to run at me. And then they're like, okay, well, we'll play Kindred then, because we don't want to run at you.
Yep. Pretty
So
much.
there's now two AD carries that would like the enemy to run at them on the side of EDG. And Vici's like, yeah, nah. I'm okay over here.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel as well.
The Camille Fiora bans a Xiaoxiang. That is a terrified cube in the top lane right there. He's gonna lock in Ornn. I can feel it.
That would be a pick that you could pick with those bans. Like Ornn is still open too. Hasn't been banned. I think it's been banned. Every series is.
Cube always
No,
just
no,
picks
it was
Ornn.
first pick. It was
Cube's a
first
really
pick
good
last
top
game,
laner,
right?
but he always picks Ornn. Yeah, it was first pick. Yeah, you're right.
It was first pick and then they went Kaisa. So yeah, here's the Ornn. Nice.
Yeah. Dude, Cube played so well last Demacia Cup, and he was playing carries, he was dominating, he was getting solo kills, and then he got into LPL, and they were like, I hope you like Ornn, motherfucker.
Ornn.
No, he's just an all one trick. Feels bad, man. But to be fair, Ornn is very cubic in his shape, so it does fit that Cube would play him.
Yeah, I can see that. It also fits that his ball laner is iBoy, so happens. Okay, we've got GP into Ornn top, so that's something that also kind of is fine if you commit to him, right? So we're continuing with the theme, even though VG's theme is very much just we have a front line, and you can even use Ornn ulti, Leona ulti to disengage if you want and create space, rather than just to commit. So,
I mean,
Syndra,
they have great scaling on the side of EDG. It's just more a matter of like, I don't see a way that they get the fight that they are looking for, and the scaling is still worse, right, than Vici.
I would say that they both have scaling, but like VG have range scaling, so it's better. And then you have Ori. I think a lot is going to be on GP probably to set up well. If they get early setup and then they don't really, problem is just like they don't have good hard CC to deal with Kindred, Jhin, long range in general. So kind of favoring VG's setup here. I think both of teams are going to prioritize like early resets really hard just because it's VG wants to have a lot of space to do what they need to do, and EDG doesn't have like really good phase check tools in general. So
yeah, I think one thing that Vici can do, not Vici, sorry, one thing that EDG can do, if they can, this is a weird sentence. What EDG should try and do
what they
is
can
if
do
they
if
can,
they can.
yeah, if they can like set up and start the Baron, force Vici to engage the fight for them, and then they can essentially play on the re-engage, and kind of force the enemy team to engage so that they can play the fight, basically. Because I don't see a way that they can actually start the fight without playing around the neutrals.
Even if they force a fight, right, you still have like a lot of range to work with. That's why you want to set up the space first, right? So that when Ornn does engage on someone, you already have carries in place who are kind of out of range of the CC of EDG to do damage and eliminate targets. Like you have Jhin, Leona, so you should be Orianna, so you should be able to one-shot someone if you have good vision control and first setup.
I just want to say, this is not relevant to the conversation in any way, but Kappa is the most underutilized Twitch emote these days. It's so underrated. There's so many like whatever emotes that are mainstream now and that are cool, and Kappa's not cool anymore. But it is like the best emote still. I just wanted to let that be known. Yeah.
That is an opinion.
Anyway, back to League of Legends. This is going to be another really slow one, isn't it? Let's be honest. Nobody's going to do anything.
Kind of want to fight around mid a bit. And because that's the timing where they can actually make something happen early. It's not as favorable for them if they wait post 6 to look for fights around mid, so I think there's more pressure on EDG. GP is hard chilling, but I think that again, like both teams sort of scale decently, but VG also scale in range, so fun stuff. I think that EDG have more pressure on them to do something.
I agree. But I also have watched EDG play a lot of games. So I don't think that they're going to do anything. Because they don't usually do anything. They usually just
this is also
chill.
a very different roster to the EDG that you've watched a lot.
It's not that different. Like 0909, but like BBD played some games in LPL.
Yeah, but he wasn't really like the consistent starter.
No. But like Jiejie and Xiaoxiang both were at times across the year, at least. Because Jiejie and Junjie were swapping between.
Sloth wasn't, right?
Sloth wasn't.
And a lot of the team's direction still comes from Mako.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Blue Wave pushing. Oh, nice E. My stream froze.
My stream froze too. Okay, I think it was the actual YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Ooh. I thought it was my computer crashing for a second.
Forge first. Flash takes a lot of damage. Syndra once he can recall here, but I think he's going to stay around to facilitate Graves. No, he's recalling. Okay.
You think I should start a talk show with Veteran, do you? Interesting. I could get down for that. I like Veteran. I like talking to Veteran. I feel like you and Veteran on an episode would be really interesting, Kelsey, because I feel like you both have very strong opinions about the way that the game should be played. And I feel like you'd probably end up with some differing opinions as well. I'd be interested to see you guys kind of debate it.
Oh, we've done shows before together. I think sometimes it's depends on the objective, right? Since we also talk quite a bit too, I can say that we have some opinions that overlap a lot as well. But I think there are definitely differences that we talk about. So yeah, could be interesting depending on the context.
Could maybe be a future Bevies episode. Who knows?
Who knows?
We're trying to not repeat guests just yet because
makes sense.
We want to try and I don't know, diversify it, I guess is the word, before we do some repeat shows. But we definitely want to have some repeat guests on as well, because like the the episode with Grabs and Peter Dunn, we're gonna try and do that every 6 months or something, because that one was just we stayed on the call for like another 3.5 hours. That was a sick 1v1, by the way. That was really fun to watch. We stayed on the call for ages afterwards and just got drunk, so
Sounds fun.
We're gonna try and do that again. But yeah, I definitely, there's been a few guests, like you and Veteran were two of the guests that had some of the strongest opinions. So I'd love to maybe do, we're trying to think of like different ideas of how to do episodes of the show, because they could have different episodes could have different themes and different like goals to them, you know? Like Bevies with the Boys doesn't have to have the same goal every time, is the way we're trying to think of it.
Makes sense, yeah. Though I mean it's such a great goal, you know? Get slightly intoxicated and talk about video games. Seems fun. So long as
the people that are on the show are down for a laugh, then it's kind of hard to go wrong with the format, right? So it's we're onto a winner, I think. But
all right, so Jiejie ahead in the jungle, also securing the dragon. Usually a combination that is not good for the enemy team.
True.
I think.
Well said.
Yep. I wonder how many marks Ice has. I feel like spectators should always know how many Kindred marks are there. I find myself just kind of like staring at the bottom left and waiting for it to show.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Oh, that's still got the knock-up? No way.
That's pretty nuts.
How did that? Surely not. I'm actually kind of upset on his behalf that Ornn ult knocked him up. There's no way that hit him. Oh no, the scan didn't pick up the ward. I don't think that'll matter though, but even still.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal. I think
it doesn't matter, but I noticed it. I was like, no.
There's so.
Oh. What just happened? Your microphone just changed, I think. Are you on a laptop?
Okay, I am on a laptop. I have one of those headsets that has a connection to, like, it has the cord separates, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I put my foot on the cord and it broke, so that's what happened right there.
Okay. Yeah, it went to the laptop mic for a second.
It's fixed now. I forget what I was talking about. Doesn't really matter. Let's go. We've got an invade on bot side.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yep. Oh, nice royalty. Okay, see, we're seeing the range advantage come into play already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
You're so doomed.
Okay.
That's so
sad.
Right,
well, it was looking okay for Jiejie, but definitely game was doomed from draft in the beginning. Yeah. And then the top dive was really advantageous. I think I was going to talk about the state of the wave top lane, but it is whatever, because there was like no TP on Xiaoxiang.
Yeah. This is really nice from Vici. Honestly, EDG looked like they're just getting outclassed a little bit here across the two games. And obviously there's draft differences for Vici both games, but they're playing them well. Yeah.
I would say that EDG's kind of early respect last game was good, but
Ix is dead though. Hey, at least they get something here.
Yeah, Ix is dead. It looks like EDG VG have tried to force disadvantageous heralds twice now. So that's something that you would look at as a coach and say, okay, we're going to review herald setups, and that's going to be the goal today.
And how not to do them, because this is how not to do them. All right, so if you're the Vici coach, then what do? How do they fix this?
Okay,
aside from having more than just your jungler there.
So yeah, I would probably, like, the core problem seems to be more about like communicating how do we set up for herald, like what's a good reset timing, like what state do we have. So they actually, I think, reset early on bot, so Leona could have gone top, and Jhin just tries to match enemy AD. I think that's fine. I really am kind of dislike the situations where AD and support both just automatically go to the rift. I usually think those aren't good, especially if you're against an Aphelios. Because Aphelios can use his white gun to do a lot of damage to plates. So I think that just sending sending Leona top earlier on the last reset to make sure that there's good vision control around the area. Basically, they had a good window to start setting up control on top side off of the top dive, right? So if they just kind of reaffirmed that, because Ornn also also recalled at that time. I think that that's something that they could have gone off of. Obviously, they tried to transition right away from defending their bot, blue, into going to rift, and that was a problem. They like overused their tempo there. So probably we would do a presentation on this is how different herald setups are played around the world. These are different situations that we can think of that are relevant to rift setups and rift swaps. And then we would talk a little bit about tempo in like probably the morning meeting for the next scrim set. So this is all, I'm sure this tournament's very casual in general.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it wasn't necessarily that I feel like Vici is going to check the stream for advice. It was more, I was just curious what your approach would be to fixing that problem. Yeah, it's interesting.
And then we would make it the daily goal for the scrim set. Just talking about the rift setups.
Yeah, exactly. Just to answer a question in chat. Oh, I got my camera in the wrong place. Just to answer a question in chat. The other semi-final already happened. It's FPX and Rogue Warriors, which I won't spoil the result, I guess, just in case you want to go watch the VOD. Will be on my YouTube at some point. or it'll also be on the Twitch after the stream's done. But yeah, that already happened. This is the last series of the day, I believe. And then tomorrow, I guess, is third place and then final. Which, I don't know, third place is probably going to be a bit of a meme, let's be honest.
I've sort of been a little bit surprised by the quality of the series. I would say the series before was not great.
Yeah.
We'll see how third place goes, though. Maybe it's EDG. It'll be EDG versus FPX, right?
Well, I wasn't going to say any spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
But anyone that was listening to this whole conversation,
yeah,
now knows how the semi went.
I remember you saying that, but I just brained off moment for a second.
That's okay. I mean, like, it's on the
I'm also
overlay when
assuming
we go between games, so it's kind of auto spoiled anyway.
I've also written out I've also kind of written EDG off, which
yeah,
some people might disagree with, but
I don't think anyone sensible would disagree. No, that's mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are definitely ways back in for EDG. I don't think that's like here they're making him play topside, but they definitely need GP to be a win condition, and they need to have really strict control of neutrals so that he can set up early. And then they're kind of VG's front line at least are forced to face check and commit into like GP Aphelios Graves, right? That's like their best play here. So Dragon spawning in 3 minutes. They're gonna get this top turret, have a fair amount of gold on their Aphelios. So when you're playing Aphelios, you always want to initiate this kind of swap situation. Because again, as we already talked about, you take towers really fast.
Even post nerf, you still do towers insanely quickly. They nerfed and it's still probably the fastest tower taking tool in the game.
Like nerfed and rebuffed. I think Jinx and Trist are definitely still up there, but
yeah,
way less useful champs overall.
I guess it's like less opportunistic as well with like Jinx, for example, because Jinx can just do it anytime. Obviously, it's just your Q, right? Whereas Aphelios, you need to have the right weapon out, which is always the way with Aphelios, right? You have to be in the right situation with the right tool. That's one of the cool things about Aphelios that I think is really underrepresented in conversations about the champion, especially with the 200 years meme. I tried to say this a few times on LPL, and every time I just got people spamming lull in the chat, and because Aphelios was overtuned, it was like, therefore there is no skill to this champion whatsoever, which I totally disagree with, because it's actually, to play at a top level, Aphelios is actually a very difficult AD carry. Like,
I mean, you see people cycle the wrong guns all the time, right? So that they have 4 guns for a certain fight or skirmish, for sure.
Part of the problem as well, though, is that a lot of people don't understand what the guns do or how it functions. So all they see is just him doing insane stuff, and then they're like, okay, well, he's just broken. But he's actually a really complex champion. There's a lot of skill expression in Aphelios, believe it or not.
Yep, for sure.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Again. Drake's up in a minute. Herald's just spawned. Ike's is on a bit of a tear with these jungle camps. He just took the Scuttle Crab just in time. EDG are in position, though. They're going to have complete vision control. Cube has TP. We could have a 5v5 on our hands here for Herald. Or not. I guess maybe not. They've all backed away. Drake's up in 30 seconds, though. Oof. Good stopwatch from Sloth, but he's still going to die.
Yep.
It's still fairly good for Vici. They used like almost every ult, but I think that's okay.
They used everything. I think they can probably take Drake on spawn before Sloth is back out on the map. They don't really, EDG don't even have good vision coverage here, which is what I said was sort of important for them to contest neutrals. And they're just going to take Rift Herald here as a trade. So I think that that's the right decision.
Agreed. And you can see Forge is going topside to answer, because I think that's a wave and a half that 0909 is pushing with right now, and there's another wave coming, so Or just going to get some nice juicy farm for himself. Oh, he might look for a 1v1 here. He's got a level advantage as well. This is... Oh my god. That burst damage at the end was... that was something. There was a very late Gangplank ult. Holy moly.
Yeah. He has item advantage, level advantage, as you already pointed out, so it should have been very favored for him.
That was Giga doomed for 0909. But I have to say, I wasn't expecting him to just run at him, which maybe 0909 wasn't either. How do you say 0909 in Chinese?
Lingzhou.
Lingzhou. I feel like that is probably how it's meant to be pronounced. But also at the same time, if he's in the LPL, we'd probably call him 0909 just so people know who we're talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you're an English caster, right? English language caster, and you're casting for an English-speaking audience, you probably don't want to use the Chinese pronunciations of numbers because they might not know who you're talking about.
Exactly. It's like with like apparently it's Lian, not Lian. So we try and do those kind of pronunciations, but if it's like if it's not obvious who we're talking about, then we'll just say it how it looks basically.
Some of these fringe Ori ultis have been pretty interesting. Just like on the edge, pulling people back and getting them in the full damage.
Yeah.
Okay, so VG clearing with mid here. Already again having like none of the control that they have on bot side has been contested, and they weren't able to get full control on top side either. They're about to lose a wave top. I don't know why Syndra was overstaying mid for so long, because there's really no reason to be there. You can maybe argue that he was trying to defend mid, but if he had rotated earlier, he could have been mid in time for the cannon, so the VG don't really have a window to siege mid anyway.
Oh god, this is so slow. This is the problem with casting LPL, right? Is you get spoiled. And I'm now at a point where I'm like, whenever I watched LCK a few times across the season.
Oh yeah, for sure. I understand.
I'm just like, my brain now just wants everyone to fight all the time. Whenever there's like a macro game, like I used to I was a huge EU fan back in like I think it was season 3, when the most exciting thing that would happen before 30 minutes is someone would break the 20-minute farm record. Like, that was the meta, and I loved it, right? I was so down for that. And these days, because of LPL, I'm just like, all I want to do is watch people brawl. That's all I care about anymore. It's like, that's not the only facet of League of Legends, but my god, it's
also more fun for the play-by-play too, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I imagine.
But I think
may also be very stressful and ruin your voice, but happens.
It's just the job. I feel like if you're a play-by-play in the LPL and you're worried about it being stressful, then
and ruining your voice, yeah, you're not doing the right thing. So
I do have to try and look after my voice though. That I do some like vocal warm-ups and stuff when I think it's going to be a banger series.
Right. As VG's coach, I would talk about like the initial herald setups for EDG. I would definitely focus on, if you have a comp that's forcing people to commit into you, you have to control the area and talk about resets for your Drake a lot more. They basically didn't control the bot side vision the entire section that we're talking about. They were not timing their movement from side lane to mid, like with their solo lane as well either. So they just didn't really have a window to contest vision. So yeah, it's just looking like in general they're really outclassed in almost every way. not just the draft.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit well, a little bit is the wrong phrase. It feels very one-sided right now.
In terms of, and they're not even outplaying them that much in terms of like mechanical execution, though.
It's not like 1v1s or anything.
This fight was like, for example, this flank was like pretty impactful overall. GP ended up trying to 1v1 the Ori when he could have been like setting up barrels for EDG to walk into him, or for excuse me, VG to walk into him.
I love that flash from Ix.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta respect it.
VG are like kind of mechanically styling on them a little bit too. They're spacing, like Orianna spaced really well when GB came after him, so it was just like not realistic for GB to do anything. Yeah. I mean that Oriole deal over the wall was like kind of cute in terms of style points.
They could just run a Baron here, honestly. And even if you don't do it, somebody has to come and check. They don't have vision. There is a blue trinket available on BBD, but you have to at very least threaten this, right? Because 0909 is dead, doesn't have TP when he comes back up. This is so hard.
They definitely don't need the Baron, and I think if they're like clumping up in a situation where they don't have key ultis, like for a while they didn't have Ori ulti or Leona ulti because they just used it on the mid pick, then unless you have full control, you have to be really confident that you're going to get it.
I mean,
so I think then taking the due diligence to push out the top wave, get entrance area vision, and then before starting Baron was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree.
Even if it means 0909 will respawn before the fight.
Yeah, and also the fact that 0909 is completely... He's just a large minion at this point. Oh, that was a blind shot as well, by the way. Yeah, the fact that is a complete example of what he's been able to achieve in every fight so far this game. I don't think they were that worried about the respawn. That's the 6th mark now for Kindred as well. Ix is 1 away from another power spike. Although it's only range, right, on the 7th one. He's
range
actually
is really
dead,
big,
though, right?
Yeah, he is for sure. Okay.
Or not? Oh
okay.
no!
Hello?
EDG! Not like this! Oh no.
Oh, actually, if I'm Sloth right now, I'm just really depressed.
Yeah. Oh.
Probably mental bloom for the rest of the game.
Yeah, this is it doesn't even matter about compositions, it doesn't matter about the score, just on like morale alone, it's gotta be over after that play.
I mean,
That's
I don't
so
think
rough.
that there's a way in which VG has not outclassed VG this series, I'm gonna be honest. Except for the Herald. That's it. That's literally it. That's what they have. Just basically map understanding, mechanical execution, pretty much everything.
Yeah, look at the burst on the team of Vici as well. It's not even like they have item leads and it's, you know, they'll just slowly win a fight. Like, if someone's caught out, they are just dead immediately. Like, Forges on 3 items, there's 2 Storm Rays. In fact, both Kindred and Jhin not only have Storm Rays, but they're on 3 items each already. So, goddamn,
they're a relatively low range comp. It requires you to commit to them into long range characters, and they don't really have good consistent CC. So I don't even like. Yeah, Sloth kind of botched that pick on the Kindred, but basically they put everything on him to catch the Kindred out anyway. So kind of sucks if Thresh is like your only real point of engage.
I just need to mirror you in chat. I will defend my boy Zika. He built Gunblade on LeBlanc because he was going Halo Blades LeBlanc against Kassadin. And so you build the Gunblade because it gives you AD as well, so you can hardcore punish Kassadin in lane. There you go. It was genius. Zika or Coma, whoever's massive 5 head. It was all part of the plan. And I'm not saying he's the best player in the league, but I like Zika. He's a good player.
Is he staying in LPL? Do you think?
I don't know.
Because he left VG, right? So
I don't know. Did he? I'm not super up to date on all of the LPL. I saw
he is declared free agency a bit.
I hope he stays in LPL. I think he has a lot of potential to be a really strong player.
Ice is actually spacing this really well.
I
love his positioning here. Actually, that was really good.
Imagine if Jiejie has the collector there. It's a different game.
Yeah, true.
Should have built collector, mate. Oh, iBoy, don't do it. iBoy loves to run it.
Yeah, I would say LWX iBoy, definitely some runners.
They see the play in their mind. And they're like, oh my god, it's happening. And they just tunnel vision and go for it. And you saw it. You saw iBoy there for a second. He was like, I can kill them all. And he starts running towards them and he's like, wait a second. I'm totally outnumbered and my team's not with me. Maybe I don't run it down here. But during a lot of games in LPL 2020, he did not have that epiphany moment of this is a doomed play and did just actually run it.
Yep.
It was very sad. Like I said, love-hate relationship with iBoy.
But this Cloud Soul, huh? That's
Hell yeah.
Now we're just using our ultis off cooldown, guys.
Jhin's gonna move so fast while he's in ult.
Yep.
It actually really procs when he leaves ult, right?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. I thought you get the whole proc when the ult ends.
No, it's when it ends. Is it?
See, I brought it up with someone before. I've not tested it, but someone told me that it's when you get it when the ult ends because otherwise it
is that for Cloud Soul or Phase Rush?
Cloud Soul.
Okay.
But I don't know how.
Or not Phase Rush, Nimbus Cloak. Sorry.
Yeah.
Misspeaking. Should say old Nimbus Cloak.
Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
We got him. This is
we
the definitely
end of the game. Called it from draft. So this is just an eventuality.
Yeah, this was a very sad defeat for EDG, honestly. It's 20-3 final score. Oh, I don't know. The cameraman's going wild. He can't believe it. Wobbling about. Thanks, Fun Spark.
Oh, this was fun. We missed the first series by apparently an hour.
Yeah, well, I was 50 minutes late and the first series had already ended, so I'm not too worried about missing it.
This is sort of a speedrun day in general for LPL series.
Considering it was 3 best-of-3s, this was damn quick.
Wow.
And also, by the way, we had an hour and 20-minute break in between the games because they were so far ahead of schedule.
Yeah, so basically they accomplished 3 best-of-3s within
just under 5 hours.
Yep. Just under 5 hours.
Considering there were 10-minute breaks between every game as well, like, not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
In terms of actual gameplay, there was probably like 3.5 hours, I guess.
There's probably less gameplay than actual time of broadcast.
Maybe,
for sure.
Maybe. Depends if you include draft.
Yeah, I guess it depends. Yeah.
Well,
it's close.
There was something. It was definitely something. Right. We have a final decided though. Now that's exciting.
Yes, we have finals. Our EDG and then no spoilers, or VG and no spoilers, right? That's what we're going with.
It. We already spoiled it. Rogue Warriors and Vici is the final.
What a final though.
I know. RNG have fallen. FPX have fallen. LGD have fallen. WE, EDG, Suning. These great teams have been destroyed by Rogue Warriors and Vici Gaming.
Stand-ins. I guess Rogue Warrior has like the closest to their actual roster, right?
Yeah. Them and WE had a fairly reasonable roster as well. They had Xiaoxiang and Missing was playing, right? I think Missing played.
I'm unsure. I don't think I watched WE.
Yeah, I think it was just Coton didn't play, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. It's a while since I watched one of the WE games. I missed that series, but this series was apparently a banger. WEDG was apparently insane.
Okay, I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back and watch that one.